and welcome to a special edition of What's in a Name? Reputation vs. Reality. I'm your host, Eric Rubak, and today's guest will include Mr. Proctor, his beautiful wife, Elizabeth Proctor, witch hunter Reverend Hale, and Minister Mr. Paris. Let's get to the action. Today's show, we will be talking about what happened exactly in the Salem, Massachusetts witch trials. Our guest today will consist of many people, some higher up in the community and some lower down. Let me give you a background about what really happened in Salem. It all began from girls saying they were being possessed by the devil because someone was committing witchcraft on them. They do this by contorting themselves in weird positions, screaming, or throwing things. The people who got accused were usually lower in the community or had money and power, and they did this so they could get thrown in jail and they could get their money and power. The accusers were higher up in the community and had a great reputation, and the court believed them because of their reputation. The court in Salem only relied on spectral evidence, which is not a very good way to run a court. During the Salem witch trials, everyone was afraid of the devil, God, evil, the forest, which as they thought is where the devil was, and imperfection. Today's topic on reputation versus reality, I'm going to talk about what it really means. And what it means is in the community, people would accuse other people to save their own reputation, which would ruin their reputation. And that's how this all started and became the Salem witch trials. Hello, Mr. Hale. Those books look like they're weighted with authority.
They are.
Everyone, please sit down.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah. Oh, it's my pleasure. So how this show works is simple. I will ask a question, and that question will be answered. After that, there will be room for comments, and then I will move on to the next question. My first question is for Mr. Hale, and it is, Mr. Hale, how has witch hunting affected you?
Well, at first I was fairly confident that could help this situation in Salem, but now I've been involved in the case of John Proctor and Abigail, and from what I've seen in Proctor and how I've known him and Abigail, it's outraged me that Proctor should be a suspect for witchcraft. Abigail has always struck me as false. I feel as if I am of no significance to this case anymore, but I've tried to look out for those who have been accused to make sure that they get the justice that they deserve. I do not want to see Proctor go down from this because I know what a good man he really is, and I know how fake the story of Abigail could be.
Why do you feel like you don't have any significance in the case, Mr. Hale?
Well, I present the information in the court, but no one seems to listen to me. It feels as if the only thing to listen to is spectral evidence these days, and they won't look at any hard evidence or proof.
Any comments?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, well, my next question is for you, Mr. Proctor. Everyone says you are a good man with a great reputation, but why don't you attend church?
I have no love for Mr. Paris, it is no secret, but God I surely love. There are many others who stay away from church these days because he hardly ever mentions God in church anymore. I cannot bring my children to listen to his sermon.
Mr. Proctor, I know you're mad about this, but let's try to be gentlemen about this dispute.
That's a drastic charge. I do not preach for children. It is not the children who are mindful of their obligations towards this ministry. A minister is not to be so lightly crossed and contradicted.
Hey, don't you contradict me.
I remind you that we must act like gentlemen during this conversation. My next question is for you, Mr. Proctor. You say you love God, but you also say that you committed adultery. What's your relationship with Abigail?
Well, Abigail worked for my wife, Elizabeth, and me in our house as a maid. In a very dark time in my life, I made a very big mistake. Abigail and I had an affair, and I am not proud of that mistake I made. And I have made peace with my wife, but I have tried to keep it a secret to preserve my reputation. The reality of it has been done, and my wife has forgiven me. She has told me that she does not judge me, and that she has always thought of me as a good man. Ever since the affair, Abigail has been obsessive with me, and she has told me she hates my wife and wants to be with me forever. Abigail, for as long as I have known her, has always been controlling and obsessive. It is because of what I know about Abigail from the past, which is why I believe that all the accusations of witchcraft are all fake and made up. Abigail is falsely accusing good people, and we can no longer let her poison our minds.
What do you mean by obsessed, Mr. Proctor?
Well, that's a very good question, Eric, but I don't know. Abigail's always come to me with sexual intentions and always saying how she hates my wife.
Elizabeth, you've been awfully quiet for this show. What do you have to say about your husband and Abby?
My husband and I are strong believers in God, so I was very surprised to find out about John's affair with Abby. I know adultery is a crime and a sin, and his disloyalty to our marriage hurt a lot. However, I realized that it would change how people viewed my family if they ever found out about it. We are good people and only want peace in our community. I really care about my husband, so I thought that it would be better to forgive him and let his reputation as a well-respected man be upheld. Although I have forgiven him and do not judge him, I know that it is the magistrate that sits in his heart that judges him. To this day, he feels guilty about cheating. I know that he and Abby do not and never did share the mutual feelings of love that John and I always have. Although I understand that, spoke or silent, a promise is surely made. I think that John does not intend to keep this promise, but Abby's pure obsession with him motivates her to become the lying little girl she has become.
For your input, Elizabeth. And now we have a special guest. We've heard all about her. It's Abigail.
Boo!
Abigail.
Thank you for having me.
Abigail, please sit down. Abigail, we're all wondering, what's your side of the story?
Thank you again for having me. I know that John is trying to change my reputation in this town, and he often calls me a whore when he's around all of you, but he really does love me. He loved me then, and he loves me now. He worries about what you all think about him, and he's trying to resist his temptation only for his own reputation. Do not believe what he says about me.
Is that true, Mr. Proctor?
I'm with Elizabeth, and I really do love her. I will cut off my hand before I'll ever reach for you again. Wipe it out of your mind. It is a sin, and I will not commit any more crimes.
Are you kidding me? Elizabeth is fake. Look at the reality of it, John. She's blackening my name in this village. She's telling lies about me. She's a cold, sniveling woman, and you bend to her. She's trying to ruin my reputation here. You love me, John Proctor, and whatever sin it is, you love me yet.
I do not, and I never have. She is innocent and only wants to keep a good name for our family. She would never do anything to hurt anyone's reputation, so leave her out of this.
Elizabeth, what do you have to say?
I knew it. She wants to replace me. She's always intended to. She believes that our promise is being kept. John, tell her there isn't. End it.
I will not have Abby threaten my family's reputation in this town anymore. You are a whore, Abby. I see nothing of you. I love my wife and I love my family. I will not even think to touch you again. You are obsessive and manipulative, and I hope everyone can see the reality of this. No more.
Yeah, baby.
You love me. I know you love me. You're lying, John. Your good reputation in this community is too important to you. If this is where you want to leave it, then let it be. But you know that I will be here when reality actually hits you. That you and your wife's public images have already changed, and I will always be here.
The reality is that I will remain loyal to Elizabeth, so accept it.
That's all the time we have for today's episode of What's in a Name? Reputation versus Reality. I'm Eric Rubak, and stay classy, Salem. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
Talk.
I am talking. Hey, Rhett.
It's recording.
What, Hannah?
You're moving. Stop
You
moving.
need to stop moving.
Versace.
Okay, so the way this show works is very simple. Will you videotape? Oh, God. Oh. Reading? I didn't hear a beep.
Done!
Time out. Let me read which one.
Oh my god.
That they obtain the judge assisted. Well, okay, last time.
I have no love for Mr. Alright, redo it. Well, that's a good question.
Oopsies.
John's affair with Abby. I know adultery is a crime.
Redo it.
Go.
In this town, and he often calls me a whore. Wait, am I allowed to say that? And he often calls me a whore when he is around all of you. Wait, sorry.
Shut up!
What are you doing?
Does anyone else want water?
So someone's really hot. No,
Alright,
thank
let me
you.
say this.
No, it's not. We're not.